She kind of knew that my future wasn't going to quite be what I wanted it to be. 11 minutes after he first told us, lightning hit 6 kids on the 18th fairway.
We don't have lightning there like we do here in Florida.
As soon as I saw the machines, something snapped in my head. I said, we can do this better than anybody else.
It's just that little moment where Jesus is like, I got you.
Jesus asked me to write this book. You think I'm going to lie to Jesus?
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Welcome to today's episode of the Brighter Side Podcast. I am honored to have author, serial entrepreneur, Bob Dugan, Robert Dugan. He's got a book that he wrote called All I Am. I got a copy of it right here. So we're going to get into that, but he's got a business also called Thor Guard, which we're going to get into, which is a lightning prediction like technology that is used all over the world.
Yes.
And especially here in Naples. And so I wanted to introduce Bob to the show. Bob, thanks for being on the brighter side.
Thanks for asking me.
So
Look forward to this.
So me and Bob, just kind of a quick introduction. Me and Bob have a mutual friend that introduced us to connect and wanted to tell Bob's story. And I started reading his book. I actually got it later than I wanted, but I started reading his book. So it was kind of cool to be able to get into that. I haven't been able to fully read the whole thing as we were just discussing. So this could be just one of those interviews that just could go a million different directions. We're going to touch on his faith and how that's impacted his life and his business. And so I just wanted to kind of always try to give everybody kind of an opportunity to kind of give themselves a little bit of an introduction from your perspective. And then I'm going to ask you some questions and we're going to get into it.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I am president and CEO of Thor Guard, Lightning Prediction Systems. We are a worldwide system, and we're the only true lightning prediction system in the world. Faith got me here, and I'm happy to be where I am because it's the exact perfect job for me. And I've been with the company for 35 years.
Wow, that's crazy. So you started out though. So tell me about your childhood. You started out, let's kind of talk about how you grew up, because I think that's pretty interesting from the book. But let's tell them you kind of had a polio, right? When as a kid?
Yeah, I had polio as an infant. Affected my left leg. Of course, at the time, I didn't know what polio was.
Sure.
And the first time I started noticing it was weaker than my other leg was playing Little League Baseball. But Little League Baseball, most of the kids aren't really coordinated or fast anyway, so it didn't really matter much.
Yeah.
But as I got into school, high school and junior high, and I played basketball and tried to play other sports, I wasn't as fast as the other guys. So kind of gravitated, thanks to my mother, to other sports. She got me involved in skiing, snow skiing, golf, and playing the piano. So she kind of knew that
like something
my future wasn't going to quite be what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But of course, my competitive nature was so strong because I had to prove to everybody that my weak leg didn't matter.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of overdid it a little bit.
Yeah.
But skiing, golf, and the piano stayed with me my whole life.
Yeah. So you were a pretty good golfer though, right? I mean, you were playing for a kid. I mean, you were playing at a pretty high level, right?
Right through college. My 4 years of college, my dream was to get on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And I played what I thought was good enough to do it. Then I tried to qualify, and I missed by 6 shots.
Wow.
Which wasn't a lot.
No. That's still really high.
Yeah,
high
so the 6 shots were because I didn't make any putts between 15 and 30 feet. So that summer, all I did was work on those putts, and I didn't get any better. So I decided on my own, this is not going to work for me. I'm not going to be able to do this. And yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
But it didn't crush me. In a way, I think I kind of expected it. But the year afterwards, I had to sit out from any competition because the USGA makes you sit out when you're a pro.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't think I'd ever play golf again. But then I came back and I played for probably 20 years really well.
Yeah. Just recreational tournaments, things like that.
A lot of pretty good tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still play?
Not very much.
Yeah. Just lost interest or?
Well, the problem with polio is there's something called post-polio something and syndrome. As you get older, that leg starts to get weak again, and so does your dominant leg. So right now, I'm kind of in this situation where I know my legs are getting weaker.
Yeah.
So golf is a little more difficult, at least the way I want to play it.
Sure. Especially when you played at such a high level.
Yeah.
It's like, I think every athlete, that's the same with me, like basketball. I wasn't, for myself, I didn't play basketball at probably as high a level as you did. I could have probably played some like small D3 basketball school, but you play for a while after college and, you're still at what I would say is a high level for me, but man, you just get to a point where you're like, it just isn't like, I got good memories of me being good. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like you see those athletes that stay there, in the pros too long. And it's like, man, they were this. And I don't know. I think that's just part of like, I guess getting older. I guess yours is a little bit different because it's more physical, because golf's usually a sport people get into. It's like, oh, you can play till you're, 100 years old or whatever. And, so I don't know if that's the case, but in my family, my son plays golf. So I love playing golf. I'm not nearly on your level. I'm still kind of pull out the foot wedge guy and kick it out if I need to, kind of thing. But I play by the rules for the most part. So, so talk about Thor Guard. I mean, I want to kind of backtrack back into it, but like tell everyone how does that even come about? Like that is like it's a lightning prediction. And so I was telling Bob earlier, like, I had heard Thor Guard multiple times because here in Florida, and I didn't know this coming from Kansas. I mean, we have thunderstorms and stuff like that, but we don't have lightning there like we do here in Florida. And I mean, like, I did not know, I had no idea the different kinds of lightning, how close it feels here in Florida. And so, I didn't know, like, I'm used to tornado sirens, like going off, and you kind of like, as a Kansan, you just kind of walk out and go, it'll be fine, kind of thing. With, when we start going to football games and stuff, and all of a sudden these alarms are going off, and I'm like, what's going on, and it's like lightning alarms. We live by a golf course. You hear these, dark clouds come in, all of a sudden you see these alarms going off, and, all of a sudden you're like, what, lightning alarms? What is going on here? This is crazy. So that was kind of my introduction into Thor Guard. And like, this is actually like a thing. So that's you, he lives in Marco Island. I had no idea, and so kind of talk about Thor Guard and kind of how it came about and why.
Well, I have played in lightning like all of us kids did for our whole lives.
Yeah.
We never thought about it that it would kill us.
Yeah.
We just
did
it.
Just thought it was a thing or something.
Yeah. So, and I never had much interest in it. It was just there. It was just something that you had to live with, or die with.
Yeah, right.
So in mid-'80s, I was asked to go on a fishing trip to Costa Rica with a former boss who had fired me.
Yeah, ooh.
And 2 clients. I did not want to go. I could see no way that this could turn out good.
For you, yeah.
But something, and that something was God, said you're going. So I went. That trip changed my entire life. I met one guy in particular who was the editor and the owner of the Fishing Tackle Trade News. And he was down there doing a story on the camp. And at night, you didn't go out because there were creatures out there that would love to eat you.
Yes.
So you stayed inside in your rooms, drank, ate, whatever.
Sure.
He came in, introduced himself, and in my whole life, for some reason, I felt it was important when you met someone who was of interest to you, you stayed in touch with them.
Yeah.
Whether they could help you or not, didn't matter.
Sure.
It's the personality. It's the person. You want to stay in touch with them.
Yeah.
So we probably only spent 10 minutes together. That was it. And had the trip, had a great time, came back, and he sold his magazine, moved to Miami, and started working with the gentleman who invented Thor Guard. And he invented it in 1973. But he also had invented a fish finder, and I love fishing. But it was a very unique fish finder. It was like an underwater radar system. So it scanned and did all kinds of cool things.
Wow.
So he told me about it. And I said, well, send it to me. I'll try it. I ended up using it on Lake Michigan for muskie fishing. It was invaluable. Then he says, oh, by the way, Bob also has a lightning prediction system. And the first thing I said to him is, you can't predict lightning,
Right.
period. Oh, yeah, you can. I said, no, you can't. You can't predict it. So one thing led to another, and at the time, oddly, I had also started running a national amateur golf tournament in Indiana. Second year of the tournament, after a lot of pressure, I finally agreed to let Bob bring his Thor Guard to our tournament, not even thinking it would work. Second round of the tournament, and I played in the morning. It was a beautiful day. It was sunny, no storms.
Yeah.
They're out playing. I'm in with the general manager deciding how much he's going to charge us for next year's tournament. And he knows that I'm a little more amenable to negotiations with scotch. So we were both drinking some scotch.
Sure.
Bob called over about 2:30 and said, "It's going to be a lightning strike. Get everybody off the golf course." We walk out on the porch. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So we kind of laugh it off and go back in and we sit
I
down.
told you or something.
Yeah, and Kevin looks at me and says, well, you're the one that invited him. A couple minutes later, Bob got back on the radio to us, you have to suspend play. So we did, but everybody on the golf course, including the players, were looking up like we did, thinking, why are we doing this?
Sure.
11 minutes after he first told us, lightning hit 6 kids on the 18th fairway.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Nobody got killed. Later, we found out the storm was 50 miles away in Waukegan, Illinois.
Wow.
That's one strike came that distance.
Wow.
And Bob said, you just experienced a bolt out of the blue. Well, now,
That's
because
crazy.
the tournament was open all kinds of ages, a lot of the parents wouldn't let their kids resume play.
Yeah.
Because right after that strike, Bob said, you can resume play. It's over.
It's good.
And we're thinking, what?
No way,
How do you
right.
know that?
Yeah.
So I needed to make a rules decision, so I called the USGA. That friendship turned into a USGA contract that we've had since 1995.
Wow.
So all of these strange strings were starting to work together. And then a couple years later, I ended up, through Bob's introduction, I also started working with one of the great fishing rod manufacturers, a gentleman named Gary Loomis. And he hired me to help him develop golf shafts. And we developed the best graphite shafts that were ever made. And irons just won a lot of tournaments. 59 in Hawaii by Davis Love. I mean, some amazing things.
So was this a golf brand? Was this like a
Well,
Titleist?
he was a
or-
fishing rod manufacturer.
Ah.
And his
I guess there's a connection there a little bit with just, I guess, the shafts. I guess I could see that.
Well, his CFO wanted to do golf shafts. Gary didn't want to do golf shafts. So they called me, can you help us? As soon as I saw the machines, something snapped in my head. I said, we can do this better than anybody else.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
Then it came to a decision, because at this time now I've already been doing some consulting with Thor Guard. Thor Guard, do I work for Thor Guard or do I work for Loomis?
Yeah.
And I visited an old friend, Cory Adams. Cory Adams invented the metal wood, started TaylorMade Golf. He's a very dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
Always been my mentor. And I had this dilemma, so I visited him in California when he had pancreatic cancer, and he looked terrible. His wife let me visit because he wanted to visit. And I asked him, what should I do? And he said, Loomis doesn't need you. Thor Guard is your company. What other job can you have where you can affect thousands of lives?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, he made his point. I chose Thor Guard. And then my education in college, not any course in particular, but high school and college, I learned to learn. So I watched the Thor Guard system, the old system, and it taught me what was going on. I'd watch it. I'd be outside or inside looking at the storm, trying to put all the pieces together. Eventually, I got to the point where I understood what it was doing.
You could see like he did with the golf on the with your experience on the golf, where you're like, hey, this is going to happen.
Yeah. And the first 10 years, as Gary told me, it would be were the hardest 10 years of anything I ever did in my life.
I can imagine.
Nothing went right.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It seemed like it would be, like you said, everybody kind of has this, thought like, oh, what is this? This sounds like how can you predict this? And, how effective is it? And I don't know what it costs, but I'd imagine you found a lot of that just in general. I mean, that's a big business, so it's kind of hard to compare to, I guess what I do, like Christmas lights, it's like, no, not that I don't make good money or whatever, but just a different size.
Well, in 1995, actually 1994, we started doing the LPGA Tour. First tour to ever forecast. Then in 95, we started doing the USGA. In 96, we did the PGA Tour and the PGA. So for those 10 years, we had every tour. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was challenging. We ended up making the decision to do just the USGA because those were 14 to 16 events. We do also now 3 international tournaments. And then Live Tour had a lot of retired PGA guys, tour guys joining them, rules guys.
Yeah.
And we started working with them 3 years ago, and they've been fantastic.
Wow. So you got like every. I mean, is there competition to you guys? I mean, is there? You don't even have to name who they are or anything, but I mean, is this like the only thing? Is this the only system like this around, or?
It's the only prediction system, which means that we tell you before the strike hits.
Yeah.
All of our competition are detection systems, so they tell you after it hit.
Gotcha.
Can be late.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, because like in Florida, like you probably know this, but like how many people die, from lightning strikes? I mean, I guess you don't have to say just Florida, but I mean, do you have like a ballpark number on?
Well, until this year, the total number of deaths from lightning for the last 6 years has been below 30.
Wow.
Actually, it might have been below 20.
Yeah. What was it prior? Like before Thor Guard with that?
50 to 100.
Wow.
But this year, there have been a rash of injuries and deaths. Half of those, I think more than we've had any year in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Half of those strikes were from strikes that came from storms that they didn't even know were there.
Wow.
We're the only people that can tell you those are coming.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that also doesn't mean that people listen. I don't know. I see this all the time. We go to the beach, especially here in Florida, you see the storm rolling in the afternoon. You see tourists walking down with their entire lives, strapped on. And you see the locals that moved to Naples, to go to the beach. And we're leaving, we're leaving because we know hey, this is about to get bad. And man, I feel like maybe it was a couple of years ago on the beach that we were at, somebody might have got killed from a lightning strike. And you're just kind of like, you don't want to tell people what to do sometimes, but I'm always like, we always kind of joke like, hey, when the locals are leaving, probably a good time to, take their advice and walk out too. But because man, when those storms come in, man, here especially, they're crazy. They're just the lightning is just incredible. I don't know what it is. And this is probably science, and that's not my strong suit, but it feels like it's like lower here or something, or just maybe more frequent. I mean, can you touch on that just for any local people?
Well, a few weeks ago, when we had the heavy Saharan dust, the storms were the worst we'd ever seen.
Really?
And trying to research why, there's no answers to it. So what we concluded was the areas in the dust overhead where there wasn't any dust, the storms were allowed to build straight up and go very high.
Oh, okay.
And that was why we were getting some just incredible storms, a lot of big lightning strikes. Marco had 3 days in a row that were the worst I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I'm going to actually remember that. Some crazy boomers.
Yeah.
We were like almost like, get us inside. Actually, my across the street from our house, maybe about a month ago, my wife's sitting in our like front den, library kind of area, looking out, and the lightning struck the palm tree across the street. And I mean, it's dead. I mean, it's like all the fronds. Actually, it struck one. It was so powerful, it affected the second one that wasn't on its property. And it's like half of the fronds are dead. And the other one, like they just came and lopped it off. I mean, it's just a palm tree cut off flat at the top. I don't know if they're going to drop it later or what, but that's actually happened twice on my street. Last year, somebody else's palm tree got hit. So I don't know. I guess I live on a dangerous street, but that's like two that, and that's like, it like terrifies my wife now. She's like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm not playing with the lightning around here. No. So it's pretty scary. So, you mentioned your faith earlier, and I kind of wanted to go back to your childhood because in your book you talk about having a temper. And you also talk about being competitive, which I think in business has probably been good for you as well. But kind of wanted you to touch on your temper, because I think that ends up, like I said, I didn't think that ends up being sort of can maybe be a good thing for you later on in life. But you talk about really like being kind of your relationship with God as a kid. You talked about it being when we were talking off air, kind of at first, you know, a lot of people like myself, I was raised, you know, I accepted Jesus into my heart, I think when I was like maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, something like that. And we were kind of going back and forth with like everybody has these struggles, you know, with their faith, you know, and I think that's really normal, ups and downs. But, you know, you have a crazy, you know, kind of come to Jesus type moment, which we'll get into, but I want to kind of build to it. So let's just talk about your faith a little bit growing up. Like how would you say, when were you saved, and like, how did that kind of play out in your life, kind of leading up to, you know, this Costa Rica trip and that kind of thing? Where were you at?
Well, I was a Catholic.
Okay.
And went to church. Most of my schooling was in Catholic high school, college. Mm-hmm. But my relationship with God was pretty contentious, because anytime I failed at anything, I blamed him and cursed him. But later on, usually that day, I'd feel so bad about what I did, I'd apologize and said I won't do it again. Of course, I did it over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
But in retrospect, as I look back at it now, Jesus was never away from me.
Right.
And it wasn't until things that happened after my wife died where he became a much bigger part of my life. So I can't say that I was born again, because I never left.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the perfect way to be.
Yeah, right. I think that's an honest answer, though. I mean, like I said, I think when we were talking off air, like, I think a lot of people think that, you know, you just raise your hand and I think there's a lot of people that raise their hand in church, you know, and say, you know, say the prayer or whatever they want to do, and then they think everything's going to get better. You know what I mean? And sometimes it does. I'm not saying that it does. I think it actually does from like a supernatural standpoint, because obviously you're saved and that kind of thing. But, you know, that doesn't mean a lot of times when people are in church, they're, you know, they're pretty broken, you know, at times. And that's where they run, you know what I mean? And they run to Jesus, which is a good place to go. It's rock bottom for a lot of people, but, you know, I think that it's really common to have like that. It's like a real relationship, you know? Yep. And I mean, you've been married, I'm married. I mean, we have goods and bads, you know? Sometimes my wife really isn't happy with me, you know? And, you know, as you mature, you learn how to, you know, navigate those fights a little better, hopefully. But I think that's a really honest, like, you know, I like to talk about that, because I just think sometimes people get it all wrong. They just think it's, you know, it's raise your hand and it's kumbaya. You know, it's really not. It's really not. You also kind of have would you say you have a science mind, like a science background? I mean, without knowing a lot about it, it seems like you would have to in your field. But
well, apparently I do, but it wasn't anything that I learned in school.
You weren't like infatuated with it growing up, or?
No, probably the one course that I excelled at was geometry.
Okay.
And oddly, everything that I've done since Costa Rica has involved geometry.
Yeah.
And I can visualize things that most people can't. So when I talk to somebody about the formation of a tornado, I can tell them exactly how the whole thing forms and how it's created, because I had to figure that out myself on a non-scientific level.
Yeah.
But I could see it. So it's very easy for me to explain it. But even in the mid-'80s, I needed to control my temper. I knew that. So I had learned self-hypnosis a long time ago. So I ended up going back to what I had learned, did some research, and I created a subliminal golf training tape called Mind Power Golf.
Okay.
Where somebody would listen to birds and waves, but underneath that were very strong repeated messages to help their subconscious kind of get into the game and not be negative.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious doesn't understand negativity.
Yeah.
then I realized, well, geez, I got to go back to my self-hypnosis and control my temper.
Yeah.
And I did. I ended up learning very well to control it. But then, of course, meeting my wife at Walter Payton's bar. Walter Payton's one of the greatest running backs.
Yeah, Chicago Bear. Yeah.
I met my wife there.
At his bar?
At his
in
bar
Chicago.
In Chicago.
Okay.
Actually in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Okay.
I went there every night.
Once she knew she was there?
No, I didn't know her.
That was just your place.
And it was about a month after I had broken up with another girl when I quit. I said, no more women. This isn't working. I'm not going to find
I'm done.
my mate. And then there she was.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that 31 plus years together, we never fought. We never argued. It's perfect.
Wow. Yeah.
And she supported me those 10 years that were tough with Thor Guard. She kept me in it. She would not let me back off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I probably would have quit.
Yeah, she was like your rock. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story to hear because I mean, as a younger guy or younger to you, I mean, it's all relative, right? I've been married for 19 years, and pretty similar. I mean, pretty good marriage. Never broke up or never had any knock. I mean, we've got some knockdown dragouts, I guess, but nothing. Well, I would say normal, but it doesn't sound like it was normal for you guys. So that's amazing. But I'm really happily married is what I should say. But
Good.
I think that that's such an important role. Like, I feel the same way about my wife is, supportive. You know what I mean? Because I got some crazy ideas. Trust me. I mean, I always joke with her. She's probably saved me from some huge mistakes, but also cost me some mistakes. So I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but since we're talking,
It's okay.
So when I was like maybe 18 or 9, no, I was probably like 21, somewhere in there. Wasn't really doing a whole lot with my career, just kind of drinking beer and just kind of being a bum. But me and my roommate, my stepbrother, we kind of came up with this idea for a drive-in grocery store, right? So we're like, man, how cool would it be to be able, this is, again, I don't know what year this is, but I was 21 and I'm 44 now, so I do the math, I don't know. But I was like, man, a drive-up grocery store, and then we'll deliver groceries. Like, we'll deliver groceries within a short area. You can call in and come up. We'll have it ready. You pull up, open your trunk, and we stick it in the trunk, and out you go. It's like, it won't even be a store you can shop in. It's like online kind of thing. But like before online was even like really a thing. And I mean, everybody told us how dumb we were and how it was never a good idea. And my grandpa had like some investor at his church, some guy that was a business guy, older guy that met with young entrepreneurs or whatever. And he was like, oh, it's a good idea, but the grocery world is so hard. You gotta have so much money. We kind of just walked away. I mean, we didn't have any or whatever. And we're thinking, and then I'm like, now look at it. I was like freaking Amazon. I mean, it wasn't exactly Amazon, but like when COVID hit, I mean, like with the groceries, I mean, we use it every single day. Like the delivery, what is it? The shop card and all that, shop, whatever it is. But I mean, like, I'm like, what an amazing idea it was, I mean, like even the idea, like there's so many drive up grocery stores now that you can do that, but we just were way ahead of our game with the delivery service. I mean, I had a white truck envisioned, and we were gonna like just deliver groceries to people within a certain distance. And as we grew, we were gonna expand and, all this different stuff. So it's like, I'm always like, man, I really wish I would have saw that one out, but I don't know what would happen. I probably wasn't ready for it, but it's, I love what I do now. But, so yeah, going back to our wives. So yeah, I think that, sometimes, man, you got to have somebody that can be the brakes, but you also got to have somebody that's got to let you lead as a man. Like, I think that's where a lot of relationships get into problems is like, we're meant to lead, but you got to take your wife's advice and her input and her, what's the right word? Like her, just her spirit, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like you got to listen to what God's telling her too. And sometimes she's in your life for you to say, whoa, or hey, he needs this push, so it sounds like you had that.
It's mutual respect. That's what it is.
And so you guys were married for 31 years.
No, we were together 31 years. We got married 2018. So the weekend she died would have been our 5th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow. And so let's talk about her, because you talk about her in the book a lot. I know she's a big part of your life, and you were sharing me some cool stories about her. But What would you? What was so good? What was great about her? What did you love about her?
The first night I met her at the bar, which is a cool story, but I won't get into that. It's in the book. And I was a Dewar's Scotch profile celebrity.
Okay.
2 years earlier.
Okay.
You don't get that by not drinking Scotch.
Yeah. Right.
So I met her that night, and just something. I don't know what it was,
Yeah.
but I just thought, she's very special.
Yeah.
So that weekend, we spent quite a bit of time together. And then that Sunday, we met on a Friday. That Sunday, we went to her best friend's house. She introduced me to them. I thought, wow, she got a lot of guts to introduce some guy she just met in a bar to her best friends.
Yeah.
But she did. And the interesting thing that happened, and she never asked me to do it, that night that I met her was the last night that I drank. I went from 8 to 10 scotches every night for 6 or 7 years to 0.
Wow.
Because I didn't need that to get in the way of our relationship.
Yeah. You cared that much.
So she was supportive. She was kind. She believed very much in Jesus. She loved her family. She loved her mother. She was just a very loving and giving person. And she loved playing golf with me. We went fishing all the time.
That's cool.
We probably spent, apart from the times that I'm traveling or working, she was traveling, we spent 100% of our time together.
Wow.
Always.
So did you stop drinking completely from that point on? Like never had a drink again? Like,
Well, I had drinks, but it might be a beer a year
I
or
got
wine.
you. It just wasn't a priority like it was when
No.
you were younger. Yeah, no,
No.
I totally get that. Yeah, I kind of grew up similar. But I had a kegerator. I was like a beer guy, but we had the beer keg and the typical I don't know. We weren't frat boys, but I guess typical. I don't know. It was always on tap. And then what you just found out with that was that all your buddies would come over and be like, oh yeah, like, hey, $5 or something, like, I'll get you guys next time. And you're just like, all right, wait a second.
Sure.
Before you know, you're like, oh, wow, I'm just buying everybody's stuff now. And for no reason, I was like, all right, buddy, you guys start bringing your own or pay up front or something. But, so I want to go back to, I had a thought with, being like, we were talking about science earlier, and, a lot of times in Christianity and science, a lot of times people have a struggle with that.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that can't get past the science, and then Christianity can sometimes be the opposite. We're like, science is whatever. And like, I think there's a good combination of both. But when you were kind of talking about that struggle, that wrestle with, God being on your side and not, it kind of reminds me of the old cartoons you used to see with like the devil on the shoulder and, and that constant battle. Was that a struggle for like doing Thor Guard and just kind of wrestling with all that? I mean, even like when you were in your relationship with Susan, right? Was your guys' faith strong then, or were you still kind of battling that off and on, giving Jesus like full control of your life, of your business?
I watch a lot of science shows. I love watching them, a lot of history shows. And the one thing I've learned over all these years, a lot of times what is evidenced in science and history change. They learn something new. They change a formula. They change the history. The one thing that doesn't change in all that is the guy that made all that, Jesus.
Yeah.
So I've never had a problem trying to make sense of, well, this is this and this is that. I think part of the reason that I can do all this is he blessed me to see this stuff.
Yeah.
And it may be very complex. And a lot of people would say, well, there's no way in the world, as not being a scientist, that you can do this. I said, all right, but Thor Guard's been around for 50 some years, and we've never missed a strike that hit anybody.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous amount of pretty accurate warnings.
Yeah, no kidding.
How many hours? Hundreds of millions of hours. So somebody figured out how to do it. I got into it. We made it better. I got some really good engineers who I work well with, who could take some of my ideas and turn them into reality.
Wow.
So it's a team thing.
Do you think like where do you like what is the, and I don't know, this is kind of a pretty deep question here. Maybe you've thought through, I'm sure you have. Like a lot of people will ask especially when Jesus, the typical questions, for non-believers, like, oh, why does good things happen to bad people? And like, why does these storms happen if God is real? And like, why would he allow somebody to get struck by lightning if he controls the weather and all this kind of stuff? And I know that's a pretty philosophical question. It's okay if you don't know the answer to it, but like, what would be your take or your opinion on that?
Well, I can only give you an opinion because I don't really know.
Sure.
We won't know till we die.
Sure. I agree.
But my feeling is that, man has free will.
Right.
He does not control us. I believe we have guardian angels. They try and guide us. And if Jesus needs to step in, he will.
Yeah.
Because maybe we're getting too far off track.
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, I think that he may be in charge of everything, but he lets things happen.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't micromanage the earth.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I agree. I mean, it's not like he's put everything into motion. So like, like the trees reproduce. He doesn't like, oh, they leveled a rainforest. Like magically there's some more trees. I mean, it's like he's set it into motion and it's kind of playing itself out. I mean, I think there's some people that will say like some storms are, a product of like sin and all that. And that's way, that's way deeper than I wanted to give. But I thought that would be just an interesting question. Cause I mean, there's times where you go, why the hurricanes or why the floods or why this or why that? And I mean, that's a really hard question to like totally answer. But I thought, man, somebody that predicts weather and is in that world, because I mean, I guess there's probably some good things that come out of each storm, but there's also some bads. I mean, there's, even we were talking about this Netflix series. If you haven't seen it, there's a tornado that hit Joplin, Missouri back in the, early 2000s, I think, or late 90s. And being from Kansas, I remember the storm, but, I mean, it just absolutely levels Joplin, Missouri. And, it's like sometimes you go, man, like 165 people died. And it's really easy to like just start blaming Jesus for all that. But, I also understand that the world is so complex and I'm kind of okay with it, but I know a lot of people aren't,
Well, a lot of these questions and thoughts kind of came more to the surface when Susan died because she wasn't sick, nothing wrong with her. She just had her heart and arteries checked and she has a heart attack in her doctor's office.
Yeah.
Totally unexpected. Of course, why?
Yeah. Shocking. Had to be.
Jesus, why did you do this?
Yeah.
And I still don't have an answer, but there's a reason. Whatever it is, I'll find out someday when I die. It just doesn't preoccupy my mind anymore.
Yeah.
I have to accept it. I have to try and move on. It's been hard.
Sure.
But if she hadn't died, this book wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So in a way, and I hate saying, Susan, thank you for dying so I could write the book.
Yeah, no, you don't mean it, but it's
but
like,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it kind of pushes you or motivated you
Yeah.
because you had said that you'd been on multiple podcasts and everyone that talks to you is like, man, you got to write a book. And you're like, no. So I want to get into the book here in a second. So Susan, she goes in for, it just was just that routine, right? Going into the doctor's office, nothing wrong.
She had fainted the night before. She didn't want to wake me up to tell me.
Uh-huh.
So when she did tell me in the morning,
you were like,
she already had a doctor's appointment scheduled.
Oh, just coincident.
I said, no, we're going to the emergency room. She said, no, go to my doctor. Then she talked to her daughter who said, you're going to the emergency room. She said, no, I'm going to my doctor. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
One time I listened to her that I should never have listened to her.
Yeah. Instead of being at the hospital, probably maybe
what
it would have been
was.
different.
I think
because
so.
of the timing of like getting her where she needed to be or something like that.
They would have seen something that he didn't see.
Yeah.
But it happened.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's where you just kind of, like you said, I mean, I can't speak for that feeling, but that's where you just kind of have to go, man, like, why this one time did I, but like in when it's your time, it's your time. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. I think we like to try to control it and think that we can, but we don't have to like the way it goes. I imagine no matter how you die. I mean, I guess there's a few people that are fortunate enough to just be, 98 and fall asleep and go to heaven and not, like have this peaceful, but most people it can be a lot of things, heart attack, cancer, some horrible things that aren't really how you want to go out. So, so you get this call, and I mean, you just had to been absolute, shock.
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
I took her to the doctor's office.
Oh, wow.
Then she was getting an IV, and she sent me next door to get cranberry juice because she liked the cranberry juice. And when I was there, I got a call from the doctor's office saying, you got to get back here.
Whoa.
So I never got to say goodbye.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I haven't got that far in the book. Now I would have known that. But so that was in 2022? 2023. So, you kind of fast forward. So, I mean, I had some tough years there, some tough months kind of trying to figure that out, and still had no book, nothing planned. And then kind of share with there's a picture in the book at the end. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's a really cool picture about a text. Do you want to talk about that, or is that a better read the book kind of thing?
Well, no, but I think
it's important.
Letting people know why I wrote the book's important.
Yeah.
I had been out in Phoenix at a Marriott golf conference, and I had an early flight back to Orlando, so 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to go to bed at 8. I couldn't fall asleep, and at 9 o'clock, something told me to go downstairs, get an orange juice. I don't drink orange juice at night, but something said,
get an orange
do
juice.
it. So I figured if I'm going to do that, I'm bringing my cigarettes. I'll go outside and have a cigarette and drink my orange juice.
Sure.
So I went to the desk. There was one orange juice left. I took it, front desk. The lady says, hi, my name is Susan. Do you want me to bill this to your room? Well, I thought that was the reason I went down. So I go outside, and there's a long part in the book about this individual. Fascinating discussion. He grew up in Worcester, where I went to college.
Oh, wow.
He was moving to Arizona, which is why I was at the hotel, to be with his father who was dying. He's going to work for NOAA, the Weather Service.
Wow.
Everything that he was telling me was my life.
Yeah.
So strange, because I never met the guy before.
Sure.
And then he talked about 2 professors in North Carolina who he was very close with. One of them was a Dr. Alexander who had died and came back and writes about his experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like 70 Minutes in Heaven kind of thing or something?
So I didn't know I was going to write the book till the next night. So I didn't get his phone number or anything like that. It was just a 3-hour conversation.
Wow.
With a stranger.
Which you weren't even expecting. You just thought you were going out for a coffee and a smoke.
So the next night, I'm at my stepdaughter's. I fall asleep. But before I fell asleep, it was awful. I mean, I was so broken, emotional, just dead.
Yeah.
And I asked Jesus for help.
Yeah.
Fell asleep. And about 1:30 in the morning, I hear what sounded like it was a shotgun went off. And I woke up. I'm sitting in the bed waiting for another one to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's when Jesus told me I was going to write the book.
Yeah.
Now, I had not thought about writing a book ever.
Yeah.
And when I went to bed that night, I wasn't thinking about it.
Sure.
So then, being the wise ass that I am, I said, well, I've never written a book before. And of course, then I laughed. I said, of course you know that.
Yeah, right.
And this was our conversation. And I said, but if I do this, and then I said, when I do this, because he's asking me to do this,
yeah,
I will need your help.
Yeah, right.
So it took me a while to get started with it because I didn't know where to start.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to write about.
It's so hard to...
But part of what he said is the first part of the book is going to be what you did not want to write. The second part of the book is going to be all the signs that you're going to see after tonight. The signs from Susan, from him, 34 of them.
Yeah.
Were unbelievable, to the point where I knew that what I've been taught as a Catholic, that when you die, you sit in the ground waiting until the end of time, and then you're risen. It's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You die, you go to heaven.
Yeah.
Or the other place.
There's no purgatory. Right.
Or
hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Because the day after she died, I would go on to the harbor where we always used to go and have my coffee and a cigarette. It was early in the morning, and I was going home. Didn't know what I was going home for because there was nothing to go there for. It was really bad. I'm driving home, and a car's pulling out from a parking lot on a back street. License plate said heaven.
Wow.
That was the start.
Yeah.
And after that,
You're like, it can't be a coincidence.
the things that happened were even beyond that.
Yeah. You're so right, because when you start thinking about writing a book, it's like, I mean, I've tried to start writing some movies and some stuff like that. I've always like had a dream of like writing a Christmas movie, and it sounds so easy, but man, it's like, okay, where do I even begin? You know, it's like, yeah, if you don't feel like, if you feel prompted or something like that, even then you're like, I mean, how do I do this? Okay, cool. You want me to do it? Show me, you know, I think that's
Well, I had
cool.
friends that asked me, says, are all those things in the book true? I said, did you read the foreword? Yeah. I said, do you remember what was in the foreword? No. Jesus asked me to write this book. You think I'm going to lie to Jesus?
Yeah, right.
Not going to happen.
Right. And he knows. So it's like, yeah, why?
This is all true.
Why? So what do you feel like, how do you feel like Susan inspired the book? Like, as far as, you said you got multiple signs from her, you know, throughout the process. You want to share some of those?
I think her signs were to let me know she was okay. Some of the signs were to let one of her daughters know she was okay.
Yeah.
Kim was her name. And the things that happened were just, you can't make this stuff up. And then a couple times, Jesus jumped in.
Yeah.
And actually, he jumped in at a mass up in Merritt Island, where Kim lives. There was a very old couple, and she had Alzheimer's or something, and she was comatose. And his love and holding her was just broke your heart, because he was so careful to take care of her.
Yeah.
Then after communion, they came back to give her communion. And she wouldn't take it. She wouldn't look at it. Nothing. And then he took it, and she wouldn't take it. So I said out loud, Jesus, if you're really here, will you let her accept your body? She immediately took the host from her husband's hand and put it in his mouth.
Wow.
And the people behind me and Kim who heard me say that saw it.
They saw it. That's so
And then
cool.
later, when that priest, who I love, got my book, he said, oh my God, what a great story. I'm so glad you included me in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then Christmas night, you wanted to talk about that text.
Yeah, this is a really cool story. Like I said, I haven't gotten this far in the book. So when I was trying to, you know, kind of just getting to know Bob, we were talking about it, and he showed me a picture, which is in the book. Was a really, really cool, amazing story. So I'll let you tell it.
Well, this Christmas I knew was going to be tough, because Susan loved Christmas.
Yeah, I love Christmas. That's a Christmas.
So we had gone to her granddaughters and her sisters for dinners during the day, which was good because it took my mind off all of that.
Sure.
Then we got home, and I love watching The Chosen.
Yeah.
So it taped The Chosen so I could watch it on Christmas, because I think it aired the night before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And before I started watching it, about 7:12 or 7:14, I decided to send Susan a text telling her, Merry Christmas, I love you very much, and turned off the phone. Watched The Chosen, and then went out on the patio to have a cigarette. And I broke down completely. And I'm crying hard.
Yeah.
And I asked Jesus, when I cry, do you cry? And it started raining. It hadn't rained all day.
Wow.
Do you cry this hard? It started pouring.
Yeah, and it doesn't really rain like at night here really that much.
Especially at Christmas.
Yeah, no, it's usually.
So then I made him a deal. I said, I'll make you a deal. I will try not to cry if you don't. And it stopped raining.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Later on, I had one of my meteorologists look up the storm pattern that night. We were actually doing the Live Tour event at Durrell.
Okay.
He found it. And he looks, he goes, oh my God, it's the one spot over the house. There wasn't anything else. And he's a very strong Christian, and he just looked at it, oh my God. Later on, when I was putting the book together, I said, you need to go back and get me a screenshot of that radar image. He didn't get back to me for a week. So I called him. I said, you work for me. Where's my radar image?
Right.
He goes, Bob, I don't know how to tell you this. The radar were all out that night. There is no image. I said, well, what did we see? He says, I don't have any idea. Wow. So the thing about the text, months later, because in my phone, in Susan's texts, I have the network connection to all of our Thor Guards in Southwest Florida. Storms were coming in. I think it was February or March. I clicked on it, and I see my message to her, and she responded back saying, I love you more.
Yeah. And you had just texted it and put it up and didn't think anything of it.
She got back to me.
Yeah.
That was quite a Christmas.
And you said that you even went and checked out her cell phone to see if the text went through, and it hadn't even gone through to that.
She never got it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I believe it. I believe that kind of stuff.
Well, you can see it.
Yeah. I mean, the text is in the book, so you guys can see the screenshot of it. A quick story. So I was supernaturally healed in 2021 when we moved here. I had so in Kansas, I had like this thing in the inside of my nose. It's almost like a little growth or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it would kind of like go away and come back and go away. It wasn't cancerous, but like I had to have it cut out. And it was like, kind of on this upper part of my nose, which is really thin anyway. God's like, oh, I tried to cut it as deep as I could. What kind of thing? I don't know. I don't pretend to, know the wording on it all, but whatever. And then, it just stunk because they had like pack your nose full of like gauze, and for like a week, it was just kind of a miserable experience. I mean, it could be worse, of course, but, and anyways, it was gone for like a year, and it was just kind of my nose would bleed, and it was just like, it just sucked. Right. And anyways, moved to Florida, hadn't really had any problems. Then about, a couple months after moving here, I noticed it was coming back, and I was like super devastated because I'm like, man, I don't want to have to get this thing cut out again. It's this something I'm gonna have to always like, it's gonna keep growing back, and I was really like bummed out. But I really like started praying about it, like laying hands on it, talking. In the Bible it talks about talking to the mountain, speaking to it, and I just kept doing that. And I have my wife look, and it's like, well, she's like, it's not getting bigger. That's good. It's kind of just staying the same size. Long story short, just kind of kept staying. It wasn't growing, wasn't shrinking, was just wasn't getting worse. And I was going to not the church that I go to now, but it's going to a different church. And the pastor would sometimes like after worship, she would just be like, I feel like God is telling me, da 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 da. Like a lot of times it would be a healing, or somebody was like dealing with something in the, in the sanctuary or whatever. And she, we're all standing up after worship, and she's like, hey, I feel like somebody in the room has, something going on in their nose, and it like needs surgery probably to get rid of it. But just know you've been healed, and it's going to be, I think she said on the right side or something like that, right side, in which mine was on my left. And I'm so like anal that I was like, oh, can't be me. It's gotta be, can't be, mine's in the left. So it's not me. Somebody else is lucky, whatever. And, me and my wife kind of looking at each other a little bit, and I didn't really think much of it. And went home that night, and I was like, hey, when we went home, I was like, you gotta look. Like, I was like, I just gotta look. And sure enough, it was completely gone. Gone. I mean, these things don't like fall out. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, I had it for like a year. Like, they don't, if I wish, they don't fall out. And that was just like, I mean, again, it wasn't like I had cancer, I was on my deathbed or something like that. But I mean, sometimes it's just that little moment where Jesus is like, I got you. Now, why doesn't he heal me in other areas sometimes when I want it? I don't know. But I mean, I also like, it talks about timing, like, I think it's 1 Peter 2:24, by my stripes you were healed. Doesn't say you could be healed, says you are healed. But I think there's a lot of things that get into like, the attitude that you take and the way that you approach something with, like I said, speaking to it, talking to it, taking command over it, telling your body, you know, and I know that's like super deep, so it can be kind of crazy. But I mean, that was like, for me, it was just that little moment where it almost just brought me to tears, because I knew, like, man, it's like, sometimes it's just like that little moment, like you were saying, like the way is like holding him or whatever, just knowing that like somebody loves me, you know what I mean? Yeah. That like, I don't know, just made me feel good. So I don't know. So I believe in like the weirdest things that can happen. Like, yeah, it's really easy for people, I'm sure, to be like, oh yeah, sure, prove it. And I mean, those are the people you just can't really argue with. I mean, it's like, you don't benefit from, you know, showing the text. It's not like you know, it's just an amazing story. So, I'm glad that you were able to share that. I know that's still probably a touchy, as much as I love my wife and, being with her, you know, that long, like
it's raw.
That's hard.
It's still very raw.
Yeah, that's got to be. I always tell my wife, like, I hope I go first. You know, like, I don't really want to die, but you know, like, I just like, yeah. I mean, it's just when you have a good marriage and you have something good going and you have a good relationship, it's so amazing. But you know, it's like in today's culture, of course, it's, you know, why would you do that and why would you settle down and all those things. But sure. I don't know about you, but I understand the sin of the flesh or whatever, but I love being married. So I would tell anybody, you know, do it, man, and stick to it. But so I always have a brighter side moment. So we always kind of wrapping up. We always talk about a brighter side segment. And so the question is, when life gets you heavy, what gets you back on the brighter side?
Well, the good thing about life getting difficult, those difficult moments don't last very long.
Yeah.
Because I know who's by my side.
Yeah.
And he will not give me anything that I can't handle.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Sure.
So I don't worry about it. You know, I go about my work or whatever the situation is and just keep moving forward, knowing that whatever the issue is or the happiness is, he's there right by my side.
Yeah.
And before Susan died and before the experience with the book, that would never have been the way I'd lived my life, ever. But now it is.
Yeah.
So people have asked me, well, do you have faith in God? I says, no. Faith is gone. I know him.
Yeah.
When you know him and you know he's there and you know he's alive, it's not faith anymore.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of very strong Christians say, well, no, that's faith. I says, no, that's not faith.
Yeah.
I said, until you experience what I've experienced and seen it and felt it, that's when you'll understand the difference between faith and knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like no questioning.
No questioning.
No questioning.
Nope.
Yeah. Which is amazing. That's a great place to be. Cause I mean, yeah, there's, yeah, I still have moments, you know, I wouldn't say I have moments of really questioning anymore, but there's things I maybe don't understand. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. But as far as questioning, like you know, you're not going to change my thoughts on like if it's real or not. You know what I mean? Okay. So second question, what are you working on right now, personally, spiritually, or professionally, that excites or challenges you?
Well, in the book, it talks about an autistic neighbor of mine, granddaughter of a friend, who talks to the dead.
Wow.
And in the book, it talks about her experience seeing her grandfather and helping her grandfather go from one side into heaven the night before she knew he died.
Wow. That's true.
It's written. It is just unbelievable. So she told me at Easter in 2024, because she was at dinner, she lives in Atlanta, she was at dinner across the canal with my neighbor, and we had dinner, and then her father said, do you want to ask Graciela anything? And I said, no. He says, why not? I said, because I don't want to know the answer. She starts writing on her computer, which goes to her mother's phone. She goes, Susan's standing right next to you.
Wow.
She loves you.
That's crazy.
So, okay. All right, I believe that. But then she starts writing something right away. I didn't ask another question.
Yeah.
So her mother gets it. She says, "Are you ready for this?" I said, "Why not?" "Jesus wants you to know you're going to write another book."
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I just finished this one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to write. Remember the individual we talked about in Phoenix that night I met?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't exist.
Oh, wow.
The doctors in North Carolina had no idea who he was.
Wow.
He did not go to work for NOAA. He did not go to work for their division of atmospheric prediction analysis because they don't have that division. But those were all the things he was telling me he was doing.
Wow.
So Dr. Alexander just said, "How did it feel like talking to an angel?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So he will be the beginning of the book. But on my website, I'm asking people to tell me their stories. The book will be about, it'll start with my experience with Stephen. It's the only name I had.
Yeah.
And then all the experiences other people have had.
Okay.
All their signs. And I figured, you know what? That would be a fascinating
book. Yeah. Give people some hope, put some good stuff
yeah,
out there
that
in the
it's
world.
just not me.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. Where people, that's cool. That's cool. Cause like, sounds like you're excited about it too, which is, and it involves other people. So, you know, it feels like, you know, a group effort sometimes when it's like, okay, I've kind of already done my thing, but you know, I still want to be able to incorporate that. And maybe, do you see, what do you see with Thor Guard? I mean, is that something that will continue to go, or how does that, what's going on with that?
We're growing like crazy. Just developed 2 new systems, one for ships and one for portable use that we're just starting to market now. Took us 3 or 4 years to develop that.
Wow.
Off of our really good system. And once we get this thing going, we're going to take what we learned with the new little one, put it into the top of the line system, because you're always, with technology today, there's always new parts coming along that are better than what were available 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And if they really make a difference, you use them. Sometimes it means you got to re-engineer a part to make it happen. So that's what's going on with Thor Guard.
Yeah. So it's up and thriving, and you're still loving it. Still love it. Still love working. You know, sometimes people kind of like, you know, I don't know. I think I don't ever like look forward to retiring. I like look forward to maybe things being different, maybe in some regards, but never like kind of getting out of it. I just love working and being around people. I wanted to ask you this earlier and I forgot with Thor Guard. So how many employees do you have? Do you have a full count on that?
Yeah, we have 21 employees at our offices, which are in Sunrise, the other side of the state. And I have about 28 reps around the world.
Wow. So it's worldwide, and it's used by the military and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just amazing, man. That's such a cool story to hear. You've built it, and I'm honored that you were on the show today just to share your story. I know some of that was hard, but it's going to help somebody, I guarantee you, that's watching or been through a hard time or whatever. So hopefully we could bring a little light to someone's situation. So tell everyone, like, where can they get the book? Where would you like to go? How can they get in touch with you? And
before I go to the book, I want to say that my business partner has been with me the whole time. He has been invaluable, keeping me engaged as well.
Gotcha.
When I talk about career things to people, particularly high school and college kids, I say, if you're going to be in a business and you're going to have a partner, make sure that partner is your good friend.
Yeah.
Because if you have that relationship, you won't fail.
Yeah.
You back each other up all the way. So Peter, my partner, was really important through the whole process.
Okay. Yeah. And that is important. I was just telling somebody that exact thing about partner. He's like, oh, this. And I said, man, you were just telling me about this person. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like that's rolling the dice with him. You were just saying some not so good. I was like, I wouldn't want a partner unless that was, like you just said, boy, you got to be like, you know, you got to split it out 50-50 or whatever the arrangement is. But I mean, you know, they're taking a significant amount of the net earnings there. You better make sure that it's, you know, it's solid. So, and I mean, I don't have a partnership, so I should shut up. But I mean, I have friends that are in it and they pretty much say that same thing. Like, man, you got to really do it. So
yeah, but the book is available on Amazon, paperback, hardcover, and on your computers.
Gotcha. Digital.
But most of the stores have it listed, Barnes & Noble, etc. And recently I started working with a group that has sold 5,000 copies to the Christian world which is what I really wanted to do to get this started. The book is funny.
Yeah, it is. It's very well. I'm only a couple
tragic,
of chapters in.
It's sad, and it's enlightening. So without my planning, it covers everything.
Yeah, it's like a good movie. It starts out, it's got all the parts you need, and like a kind of a happy ending in some ways, maybe bittersweet, but you know, I like hope. You know what I mean? I like being able to see the good in something at the end, whether it's maybe how you wanted it to end or whatever. But this is it. It's called All I Am by Robert Dugan. Call him Bob because we're kind of friends now. But thank you guys so much for the episode. You guys don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel there. That gives us a little love. Also notifies you when you hit the bell if you guys want to know when our next video drops, which is usually on Fridays. And so that's it. That's a wrap. That's it. So make sure that you guys go get the book and make sure to give us some love, and we'll see you guys on the next one.